Hello dear students, myself Dr. Sachin Gurule, Assistant Professor from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nasik. So first of all, I welcome you at the class F.Y.B.Sc for semester 2nd, and today we are going to start with the practicals belongs to the section first, that is animal diversity second, that is belongs to the semester 2nd. And in this video we are going to learn the second practical, that is museum study of Phylum Annelida. So the aim of the practical is museum study of Phylum Annelida, in which we are going to learn the three animals. First of all, the Nereis, commonly known as the rugworm. Then second one is a Feridema posthuma, which is commonly known as the earthworm. And third one is Hylurodinaria, which is commonly known as the leech. So all these three are the annelidan organism we are going to learn for their classification. Okay, so let's start first of all the silent features of the phylum Annelida. So this word Annelida itself is derived from the Latin word, and the word is the annulus. It means that little rings. So if you see the body of this organism or the annelidan organism, their body is made up of a multiples of the little ring-like structure, and hence they are known as the annelidan organism. Okay, so if you see the other characteristic feature, all the annelids are bilaterally symmetrical organisms, so you will find a similar kind of the things at the either side, so showing a bilateral symmetry. Then these organisms are triploblastic. They are provided with a three germ layers: ectoderm, endoderm, and the mesoderm, so known as the triploblastic organism. Then the body is metamerically segmented. So here in this diagram, if you see the body of this organism is made up of a many metamerically similar segments. So similar segments are there, hence they are referred as metamerically segmented. Now if you see this annelidan organism, they have achieved a great diversity in terms of their habitat. So many of the annelidan organism, they are living into the water, that is they are aquatic in nature. Some of them are the terrestrial, and few of them are some of the annelidan organism, they are burrowing form. Burrowing in the sense they prepare a burrow into the sand or in a particular substratum, and they are generally hide under that burrow. So this is the habit you will find for the organism that belongs to the phylum Annelida. Now these organisms are the true coelomate organism. True coelomate organism in the sense they are provided with a body cavity, the true body cavity which is around the gut. So hence they are referred as a true coelomate. Then they are schizocolous. Schizocolous in the sense in the embryonic development there is a early differentiation of few mesodermal cells. So here in the diagram you can see, so this is the archenteron which is going to form the gut, okay, or so called as a digestive system, and which is the invagination of that outer is going to form the endoderm part. But before that, early mesodermal cells are get separated, and these cells they are forming they are split into the mesoderm by forming is first of all the sac, and then after this splitting of the cells at the early development, they are going to develop a coelom, and such a kind of the coelom, if it is originate in the organism, such a coelom we call it as a schizocolous coelom. Now the coelom again, it is divided into the compartment by a transverse septa. So here again in this diagram if you see, you will find a many septums are there. Septums, they are responsible for dividing each and every annulus, or so called as a metamerically segmented. So the whatever body coelom is there, that body coelom, due to the presence of transverse septa, it is divided into the many small compartments. So which is again another characteristic feature for that phylum Annelida. Then as far as the locomotory organs is concerned, so locomotory organs, they are in the form of CT or TT. Okay, so they are provided with a different kinds of the locomotory organ, and if you see the classification also, their classification is quite based on what kind of the locomotory organs are present into the annelidan organism. So but chiefly the CT, which is a very characteristic structure. So here S-shaped, roughly S-shaped CT, you will found into the many organism belongs to that oligochaeta, particularly among the annelids. So laterally fleshy appendages are known as the parapodia. So these are another locomotory organs. So locomotory organs, first of all, the CT. So this is, you can see the structure of CT, which is roughly S shape. Then second one, the lateral fleshy appendages, which are found on the each and every segment except first and last. This is known as the parapodia, and so this is the magnified feature of the parapodia. So these are the locomotory organs we will found among the this annelidal organism. Then coelomic fluid is provided with a corpuscles. Okay, so some cells are there, that cells are always found into the coelomic fluid. Then if you see, the epidermis is a made up of a single layer of the columnar epithelial cells. Okay, so here the epithelium has developed and they are provided with, here you can see the skin is provided with a only single layer of the columnar epithelial cells. So in this diagram you can see the epidermis, which is a single cell, and if you see the cells, they are looking like a column. So these are the columnar epithelium. Now it is externally covered by a thin cuticle. So here you can see the external, at the exterior of this cuticle or skin, you will find the cuticle, but this cuticle is not made by the protein known as a chitin. Okay, so chitin is generally found into the arthropodal organism, so that chitin is lacking here into the cuticle of the annelidal organism. Then body wall is dermomuscular. The outer muscle fibers are circular while inner are the longitudinal. So here you can see the longitudinal muscle fiber, and these are the circular muscle fiber you will always found into the body wall. So they are provided with a dermomuscular skin, but their skin is only made up of a single layer, and the outer muscle fiber, they are outer muscle fibers are circular, while the inner one, they are the longitudinal. So here you can see the circular muscle fiber, and these are the longitudinal muscle fiber. They are provided in the beneath the body wall. Now the digestive system. The digestive system is a complete type. Now what exactly the complete type? It means it contains almost all the organs belongs to the alimentary canal, such as the mouth, then mouth leads into the pharynx, then pharynx leads into the esophagus, then crop, gizzard and intestine, and finally it opens out by the anus. So in this way, if you see the alimentary canal, which is a very straight, okay, canal is a straight and is a complete one, start with the mouth and ends into the anus. Mouth is located into the first segment, that is prostomium, and the anus is located at the last or the terminal most segment. Okay, now digestion is entirely extracellular. Now extracellular digestion, in the sense the digestion which is take place outside the cell, means within a alimentary canal. So such a kind of the digestion, we call it as a extracellular digestion. So they are provided with the extracellular digestion, which is the mode of digestion among the annelidal organism. Then the circulatory system is a closed type. Now what exactly the closed type system? Or you can see another feature of this annelidal organism is that during the course of development, so these are the first group of animal, they have developed a closed circulatory system. Now closed circulatory system, in the sense, here you can see, so there are two vessels are there, major vessels are there, which is, one is located at a dorsal side and one is located at a ventral side, which are commonly known as the dorsal vessel and ventral vessel respectively. And these dorsal vessels and ventral vessel, particularly into the proximal region, they are interconnected with the 5 hearts. So there are total 5 hearts are also there, and whatever blood is there, that blood is flows within that vessels. As when the blood flows from that vessels, such a kind of the circulatory system, we call it as a closed type of circulatory system. Then if you see the respiratory pigment, they are generally having the role of carrying the oxygen, or it is concerned with the gaseous exchange. And so the annelidal organism, they are provided with a different kinds of the respiratory pigment. So this respiratory pigment, in some cases it is maybe in the form of hemoglobin or the chlorocruonin, but hemoglobin you will in case of this annelidan organism, and chlorocruonin is present into the plasma. If you see the mammals, the hemoglobin is present on the surface of RBC. Okay, but here in case of the annelid, it is present into the plasma. Or another respiratory pigment they you will found among the annelidan organism, that is hemimerythrin, and this hemimerythrin, their site is on the corpuscle, or whatever blood cells are there, blood cell their surface, they are provided with this kind of the respiratory pigment, that is hemimerythrin. So you can say there are three kinds of the respiratory pigment you will found into the annelid organism. One is a hemoglobin, second one is a chlorocruonin, and third one is a hemomerythrin, but their site is different. Now, as far as the respiration is concerned, so respiration is generally done by the moist skin or the gills of the parapedia. Means if you see these organism, their skin is always moist, and whatever demand of the oxygen is there, that demand of the oxygen is itself fulfilled from the moist skin only. So they are provided with a cutaneous respiration. So this is again a characteristic feature. Now for the purpose of excretion, they are provided with a special structure which is known as a nephridium. So here if you see the body, so they are provided with a many nephridia which arrange the segment wise, and this is the magnified view of the nephridia, which are the excretory organ among the annelidan organism. Then nervous system is provided with a pair of cerebral ganglion and a double ventral nerve cord bearing a ganglion and lateral nerves in each segment. So the nervous system is a ganglionated one. So this is a brain. Brain itself is made up of a pair of cerebral ganglion, and then after in each segment you will find a pair of ganglion, and from that pair of ganglion you will find there are nerves which are arising from that ganglions, and which is innervated into the organs or the body wall of respective segment only. So the nervous system is a ganglionated type. Then sensory organ, this includes the tactile organ which are concerned with the sensation and that are associated with the skin. Then they are also provided with a taste bud, statocyst organ or photoreceptor cells. So these are the sensory organs you will find among the annelidan organism. Then as far as the reproductive system, the many annelids, they are provided with a hermaphroditic condition. Hermaphroditic condition in the sense the same individual may contain the both sexual organ belongs to the male and female. So here in this diagram you can see, so these are the ovary which are present, and if you see the example of the earthworm, you will find both male as well as female reproductive organ showing the hermaphroditic condition. But this is not a universal for the annelidan organism. So some of the annelidan organism, they are provided with a separate sexes also. So maybe they are showing the either hermaphroditic condition or maybe sexes are separate. Now in some forms the trochophore larva is present, means in some forms the development is an indirect one, and in that case the larva which is present, that larva is known as the trochophore larva. So these are some general characteristic features which are found among the animals belongs to the phylum Annelida. So let's see first of all the examples. Now examples of Annelida, you can give them many example. Nereis, rugworm, which is commonly known as a rugworm, and the Arenocola, which is known as a lugworm. Again the Feridema, which is the earthworm, which is very common to all. Then Hylurodinaria, commonly known as a leech, in Marathi it is known as a Zolu. Then the Tubifex, that Tubifex is known as a sludgeworm, and another example is a Protodilus. So all these are the organisms, they are the examples of Annelida. Then let's see the classification. Now this phylum Annelida is divisible into the 4 classes, that is Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, Hylurodinea and Archiannelida. Okay, so This is on the basis of again what kind of the locomotory organs are present. So for example, if you see the polychaeta, among the polychaeta you will generally found the locomotory organ is in the form of this parapodia. So which are the lateral expansions of or the muscular expansions. So these are known as a parapodia, which is the characteristic of polychaeta. Then among the oligochaeta, for example, you will found the example of that oligochaeta is a earthworm. They are provided with a CT from the ventral side, and they are actually this oligochaeta and the polychaeta, they are uh, both belongs to the clitellata. Okay, means they are provided with such a clitellum, so which is a characteristic feature. So here in the Hylurodinaria, okay, so which is the Hylurodinaria, which in which you will found the locomotory organs in the form of suckers. So they are provided with the two suckers, anterior sucker and the posterior sucker. Then another example is the tubifex. The tubifex, they are also provided with a cilia and the parapodia. And the another class is Archaeannida. That Archaeannida provided with a cilia and the parapodia. So this is a just rough synopsis of the classification for that phylum Annelida. So we are only going to learn with the three classes, that is polychaeta, oligochaeta and Hylurodinaria, and with that we are going to learn the at least one example. So let's start with the first example, that is the Nereis. Now Nereis is commonly known as a rugworm, or it is also known as a clamworm. So systematic position is very simple. The phylum Annelida. Now we have already learned the many general characteristic feature for that phylum Annelida. So few reasons are bilaterally symmetrical organism, they are triploblastic, metamerically segmented body, they are true coelomate, schizocolous coelom is present. Then most of the this annelidan organism, they are aquatic, few are the burrowing forms. So all these are the reason for phylum Annelida. Then there belongs to the class Polychaeta. The reason for that Polychaeta class is mostly they are marine organism. Head is distinct with the eyes, pulp and the tentacles. The parapodia bears a setae. Then clitellum is present. So hence they are clitellum is absent. So there is no clitellum in the polychaetan organism. So these are the reasons for the polychaeta. Then subclass Erantia. The reasons for that Erantia is they are free swimming forms, they are burrowing or the tube dwelling predators. Pharynx is protrusible, enlarged, and usually they are provided with a jaws and the teeth. So these are the characteristics or the reasons for the subclass Erantia. Then the family of the Nereis is Nerididae. This Nerididae is a family of the rugworm, or commonly known as a clamworm. So this is the important, that is classification of the Nereis, commonly known as the rugworm. Now silent features are actually not essential for this practical, because you are going to learn this practical for their systematic position. But let's see few of the characteristics. Now if you see this animal Nereis, the body is generally contains a 200 metameres. So there are about 200 segments you will found among the body, and each of these segments are separated by intersegmental groove. So there is a intersegmental groove here. You can found that the intersegmental groove is present, which is responsible for separation of these segments. Then first few segments of the anterior region, they are fused together to form the head. So head is actually the few, or is get produced from the fusion of the few segments at the anterior end. Then head bears prostomium or the preoral lobe or and the peristomium. So this is a peristomium you can see, and the prostomium in the sense the first segment, and the first segment they are always provided with a mouth. The prostomium carries the prostomial tentacles. So here you can see the tentacles are there, and the pulp and the ocelli which are the eye spots actually. Then whereas the peristomium is characterized by presence of 8 pairs of peristomial tentacles. So here exactly you can see the peristomial tentacles are there. Their number is 4 pairs, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 at the right side and 4 at the left side. So the tentacles are total 5 pairs, of which one pair is present on the prostomium, which is known as a prostomial tentacle. These are the prostomial tentacle here you can see, and this one is the stomial tentacles, which are the occurs in a 8 pairs. Now parapodia, so all these are, you can see the parapodia. So these parapodia are the locomotory organ among the this polychaeton organism, and they are also serve the function of respiration as well as the circulation, and presence of anal cerci on the last segment, which is again the characteristic feature. So here you can see that at the last segment you will find the anal cerci, which is again the characteristic for that nares, and among the nares the sexes are separate, that is male and female are the different organisms. So these are few characteristic feature for that nares. Okay, so let's see the second organism. Second organism is the Feridema postuma, which is commonly known as the earthworm, which is also known as the friend of farmer. So again, systematic position, the phylum Annelida regions are same as we have learned into the nares. Then there belongs now to oligochaeta. Now oligochaetan organism, they are mostly terrestrial organism. Some of them are freshwater. Now here head is indistinct without sensory organs. So sensory organs are generally absent among the oligochaeta. Now CT, which are the locomotory organs, that the CT are few in number and embedded into the skin, and that is from the ventral side only. So ventral part of the body is only provided with this locomotory organ known as a CT, which is a roughly S shape. Then parapodia, that parapodia are completely absent among the oligochaeta. Then glandular clitellum is present. So here in the diagram you can see, so this is a dark patch. This patch is known as a clitellum. So as they are provided with the clitellum, they also have another taxon, that is the superclass, that is clitellata, because they are provided with a clitellum. Then next order is the Ophistophora. Ophistophora, the reason for that order is male gonopore lies some distant behind the testes containing the segment. Then the family is a Megascolicidae. The Megascolicidae is a large family of the earthworm from the southern hemisphere. So this is actually the family of earthworm, and the scientific name, that is genus, is the Feridema, and you can take an example of a species, that is Postuma, which is commonly known as the earthworm. So this is about the systematic position. So let's see few characteristic features. So if you see the body of this earthworm, the body is contains nearly about 100 to 120 metameres. So there are about 100 to 120 segments you will found, and it measures up to 150 millimeter, means approximately 15 centimeter size. Okay, so both internal and external segmentation is distinct. So you can see the segmentation into the body from external side as well as the internal side. Anterior end is always pointed. Here you can see the anterior end is pointed, while the posterior end is quite blunt. Then first segment of the anterior end is always known as a prostomium. So here the first segment is always known as a prostomium, and followed by the peristomium, which is the second segment. So mouth is ventrally located on the prostomium. On the first segment from the ventral side you will find the mouth. Then clitellum is a very distinct one, and it comprises the segment number 14, 15 and 16. So there are total 3 segments which are going to form this clitellum, that is clitellar segment number 14, 15 and the 16. Now locomotory organ, as we have already learned, the CT are the locomotory organ which are situated only at the ventral side of the body, except the first and last and the clitellar region. Means only the clitellar region, the first and the last segment, they do not bear CT, but the other intermediate segments from the ventral side, they are provided with a locomotory organ known as a CT. Now these organisms are hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite in the sense they are provided with the male as well as female reproductive organ, showing the hermaphrodite condition. Means if you see the animal, the male as well as female organs are present on a same organism, but they are generally provided with a cross fertilization. Though they are provided with both the sexual organ in the same organism, but they never has the self fertilization. So fertilization is always the cross type. So this is about the characteristic feature for that earthworm, that is Feridema posthuma. Then let's see the last organism, that is Hylurodinaria, commonly known as the leech. Systematic position, again there belongs to the phylum Annelida. The reasons are very same that we have learned for the first two. Then there belongs to the class Hylurodinea. The Hylurodinea reasons are they are ectoparasitic. So these are organisms that are ectoparasite, and usually they are blood sucking and the carnivorous organism. The body is provided with a 33 segment. External segmentation is without internal septa. Anterior and posterior suckers are present. So here you can see the anterior sucker, and this one is a posterior sucker, which is again a characteristic feature for this Hylurodinea. And these organisms, they are also showing a hermaphroditic condition, that is male as well as female organs are present on the same individual. So these are the reason for the class Hylurodinea. Then order Gnathobladida. The order Gnathobladida reasons are pharynx not eversible with 3 pairs of jaws. They are provided with 3 pairs of jaws. Then there belongs to the family Hylurodinidae. The Hylurodinidae is a family of the sanguivorous leeches, freshwater and the medicinal leeches, because these organisms, they are used in the blood therapy. It is believed that these organisms, they sucks the one can say the impure blood. So they also use in a medicinal therapy also. So they are blood sucking, and this is the family of the leeches, and the genus is Hylurodinaria. Okay, so this is about the systematic position. Now as far as the general characteristic is concerned, they are commonly known as a Indian cattle leech. Okay, then body contains total 33 segments. So here you can see the 33 segments are there. So each segment is superficially divided into the 5 annulus. So again, each segment is further divisible into the 5 subsegments. Is a vermiform, elongated, dorso-ventrally flattened organism. They measures about 30 centimeter in length. So their maximum size is the 30. Body surface is a soft and slimy olive green on the dorsal surface, whereas the orange yellow on the ventral surface. So both the surface bears a black stripes also, which is again the characteristic feature. Now another feature of this organism is the presence of sucker. They are provided with a anterior sucker at anterior side and the large posterior sucker at the posterior side, which is also known as a acetopulum, which is again a very characteristic organism with the help of which they are attached themselves to their host. Now anus is located on the 26th segment. So 26th segment is a position where you will find the anus. Then again they are showing the hermaphroditic condition, bearing male as well as female reproductive part on the same organism. So if you see, the male gonopore or the genital opening is present on the 10th segment, while on the 11th segment there is a gonopore which is belongs to the female, where the female genital organs, they are generally open. So these are few characteristic features of Hylurodinaria, commonly known as the leech. So in this practical, what we have learned, what is meant by the Annelida. Then we have learned the general characteristic features of phylum Annelida. Then we have learned the classification. The Annelida can be classified into the 4 classes, that is the Polychaeta, then Oligochaeta, Hylurodinea and Archaeannelida. But we have learned the examples only belongs to the 3 classes, that is Polychaeta, the example is Nereis, Oligochaeta, example is a Feridema, and Hylurodinea is the 3rd class, which is having the example Hylurodinaria. So herewith we have completed with our practical. I hope all of you understand all the content of the practical. So thank you very much.